afternoon, everyone. This is RAND, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, April 8, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call this coming Wednesday night. Real juicy one. With all of the hoopla, resurfaced information about the eclipse of April 8th today, and all the propaganda and everything, you can see for yourselves that this is a movement of convincing those of us many on the planet that would focus their energy on all of this. So what you focus on, you create, correct? So this is the main play on the planet right now, is to get people to focus on the eclipse in a way of negating or negativity, bad things, turmoil. And then on the flip side, of course, because remember, wherever there's good, there's bad. Wherever there's bad, there's good. On the flip side is that there's all these wonderful spiritual and flashes, and humanity's going to ascend, and all these things. And the mediums are at full tilt, and everything going on there. And this, now you understand, this happens, certain events throughout our history, our past as a civilization. And since we have such twisted media today, which won't be much longer, we have all of this confusion and people focusing on certain things. And when it all boils down, you've got ongoing meditations happening. And the problem with that is that meditation is a daily thing. It's not one big surge and then it's all taken care of. And you see these special meditations happening today, focused on whatever, the eclipse, and remember that the negative forces have meditations, but those meditations are meant to negate our meditations, which is kind of silly, since we all come from the same source. So today in this meditation, we focus on the lives we want to live. We focus on how we want this planet to be for all of us. That's pretty much it. That type of focus is coming from the heart mind and not the ego mind. And many on this planet are being manipulated through their ego minds, and they don't know it. It's not like they're doing it on purpose. It's just how they're being guided. And, I give you, there's many instances that we have where, Yeshua is talking with somebody, right? And see, here's where we get confused, is because when a God, moves out of the body, that life's over. It's not a reminiscent, it's the life is over. And because of bicameralism on this planet, people hear voices and they can swear up and down that they're getting information from that particular man or woman who used to live thousands of years ago. And the funny thing about it is that that life is extinguished, is gone, ended. Remember, while we're in these bodies, everything is temporary, including the body. That's a dead. There's no debate there. And so when you leave that body, you're God, you're pure consciousness, and you move on. You don't emulate that life again or revisit that life on a continual basis. You move on. You move into a different physical form or whatever direction that you choose. So, but the confusion here is that since most of us do not really know who and what we are, this is what happens. The confusion and the multifaceted directions of attention and focus that skew things in different directions. Because if you'll notice, there's not one consistent path from a spiritual standpoint. There isn't anybody on this planet that, I mean, even when the God that was in that inhabited Jesus' body, or the God that had Yeshua, or Yahweh, or any of those, it was temporary. Buddha, Siddhartha, temporary. Lao Tzu, temporary. Every one of us. So it's when you don't know who and what you are, which is the direction that we're all on, is to rediscover who and what we are in these bodies, and not the bodies and character or personality or our belongings or what we have or where we're established in the so-called society of the rat race of the planet. We do have this draw that the ego mind takes us into all of this, okay? And it can become very confusing for a lot of people, as you well know. It confuses people because, imagine, you don't know who and what you are. You believe you're the body, right? You have fear of the unknown, which is what happens when I leave the body. And there's a lot of people like that. No matter what man-made religion they have followed for lifetime. And so what this is about. Now, how does all this take place? How do the eclipses take place, and why do all these things that go on? What motivates the celestial bodies to move in front of each other and do certain things? Well, it's all about orbit, pretty standard stuff. And are the energies different, or the frequencies? Somewhat, some areas, but those on this planet try to expand it to some kind of sensational thing. That we'll be in we'll be in darkness forever now, and planet and people and all kinds of strange occurrences and events, all attached to a solar eclipse. And and what are the frequencies? Well, frequency is a little different. Not much. I mean, all planets move, but mostly space moves. Okay? So the illusion is that, well, that's planets moving around the sun. And it does orbit. We do orbit. But we're in space. So it's like we're moving through the photon energy field, right? Or they call it the belt. There's a lot of names for it. And the collective consciousness created that to bathe this planet and others in pure, deep, eternal love. Okay? Now, unfortunately, some people on this planet are so sensitive to that because they misunderstand it. They just don't know who and what they are. And so the emotionality of the body takes it differently through the ego mind and not the heart mind. And when that happens, there's fear, upsetness, stress, frustration, worry that comes in because they don't know what it's about. And it's actually deep eternal love that is flooding their body. And the God that they are within that body is deep eternal love. So it's quite interesting how some rush to the doctor and what's going on with me, and they have visions and dreams and all kinds of things, but they don't know that it is deep eternal love, of which what they really are, the God that they are within the body, is deep eternal love, pure, unmitigated, unmessed with, highest frequency in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond and forever. So, and it's understandable that the majority of us don't know who and what we are. And that's a choice. Nobody's going to make any of us, force any of us to go within. We will decide that. We'll decide it through the heart mind, not the ego mind. Ego mind wants to keep us out of there. The ego mind wants us to be in yesterday or tomorrow all the time because that's where it exists. It doesn't exist in the now. But most of us are song and danced into tomorrow or yesterday, and that's where we suffer. And this is an event, and it might sound kind of strange, or that it's like your body losing a tooth, maybe. All right, movement and change amongst our solar system. It isn't anything astronomically impactful. It's a basic understanding is that if you realize that in our past as a people, we were bicameral, which means we were unconscious. We were not aware that we were conscious beings. So when we saw something, or viewed something, or whatever, experienced something, we wrote it down and we expanded on it from our viewpoint, right? So a lot of this past information, it resurfaces every so often. And it's because we have such a way of communicating today, internet, different devices to communicate with, it's much easier to put out there amongst people so that they view it, listen to it, and make their own choices on if they're going to believe it or not. But when you understand that you say that you have 100% confidence in yourself, right? 100% confidence in the universe, and 100% confidence or trust in yourself and the universe, and 100% faith in yourself and the universe. All this would be, this eclipse, it would just be a natural state of existence amongst the solar system. That's all it is. And just like us, we change on a continual basis. These bodies do. The gods that we are never change. It's because we're the only thing that's real, which is the gods that we are in these bodies. Everything else is an illusion. Well, why is it illusion? Why do we appear separate from each other? So that we can each experience certain, in different avenues and directions, life. And in a way, life is God. And since we're all gods, we experience physical material life. To help us rediscover, quite frankly, that we are gods within these bodies. And how powerful every one of us are is immeasurable. And our minds aren't able to comprehend that. They're too small of a container. There's no way. And this is why people get overwhelmed and they say, well, forget about it, or they throw their hands up in the air and say, this is ridiculous. Okay. Not possible. But to be super powerful does not mean you have to be super large. Believe me. It has nothing to do with the size of something, right? And we have particles in existence the size of a grain of sand that if you were able to lift it, right, or degravitize it, and then you put the gravity around it, it would pass right through the planet. It's so dense. There's galaxies and universes contained in a drop of water. Believe it or not, I use the drop of water as an analogy, but in a drop, there is a universe. Not figuratively, but literally. So when we look at this as the powerful beings that we are that never die, omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die, who inhabit physical forms to experience physical material life, to rediscover who and what they are within that body. When we look at today, April 8th, the eclipse will come and it will go. And all the premonitions and all the spiritual and holy directions. You understand that there are negative frequencies that wish things to be bad, harmful, scary, and fearful, which has been played on this civilization for eternity. And I believe that a lot of people now are realizing that without anger or aggression or irritation is that I'm not interested in engaging in that. Good choice. I wish to stay in my heart mind, focus on the now, listen to my breath rise and fall, and focus on the life I want to live, and focus on the way I want this planet to be for everyone. That's the key right there. Right? When you focus on something that's disruptive, so to say, low frequency, heavy, fearful, fear is an absolute illusion created by the ego mind. And the only way it becomes something is when we give it something. When we don't give it something, then it stays nothing. It's just a thought. So we give power to everything that we bring into our own reality in this life. And then we take energy, we move it into form, we create it into reality, and we experience it. This is what we do. I mean, we do it in our sleep. We do it 24/7. We're creators, for goodness sake. So this is what we do. We create. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always a bowl full of cherries, so to speak, that we create other things that are frightening, right? Disruptive, caustic, challenging. So we have both sides of the coin. And what we do is we balance ourselves on the edge of the coin, which is the third side of the coin. And some of us will get really good at it, so we stay on the edge in between yesterday and tomorrow, so to speak. We're in the now. The edge of the coin is the now. Tricky. It's tricky for us because you balance, right? It's balance. And of course you got that ego mind coming in, constantly wanting to pull you off into yesterday or tomorrow. But when you know that, you say, oh, here comes the ego mind. You say, ego mind, you're not in charge here. And I don't care to engage in that thought. And you'll see the thought will go by, it'll disappear. And then others will keep coming in on a daily basis, and you should do the same thing. I don't care to engage with that. It's like clouds floating out the blue sky, floating by in the sky. Those are thoughts. Once in a while, you might take one in, give it some energy because you want to experience it, right? And then most of the other times, you just don't care to engage it because it's low frequency. Our whole direction here on this planet to move forward in a spectacular way is to focus on who and what we are. Period. And not engage in things that we have all engaged with, which doesn't mean we're exempt from them. No. Oh, that doesn't happen with me. It happens with all of us. On a daily basis, we get seduced back into the material physical world through the ego mind. All of this is created. Everything happening on this planet, what do you think, is created by thought only. That's it. Okay? Now, a thought is really nothing. It's just a thought. It has no power, no energy, no nothing. But as powerful as you are, you focus on that thought. You bring that thought in. Right? You give that thought power. You move it into focus into reality, and then you experience it. You're the one doing that. You're omnipotently powerful. Thought's just nothing. It's hollow. But it depends on how we embrace that thought. See, and you know the difference, right? You know the difference between hate and love. And the feeling that you have with that body when you experience either or. And that the hate end of it isn't pleasant for any of us because it takes us so long to recover from that. So you know it's not our natural state of being. It just isn't. Now the love is our natural state of being. Even though many of us fear love because we truly don't love ourselves. So therefore we fear love, or we fear the interaction of expressing love with anything. Not negative, it's just understanding and identifying with ourselves. It's not, being hard on ourselves or anything. It's basically taking in the understanding and gaining the knowledge, all the parts of us, all the parts. We embrace all the parts of ourselves. Good, the good, the bad, and not so good. And we forgive whatever we need to forgive ourselves for. This is all done through the heart mind, not the ego mind. And you would believe that when you're in the heart mind, you're focused on the now, see that the chatter's gone. You know that mind chatter we all have? Some people, it gets really loud and, they just would like to just cancel it out. I've had people say to me, I would just like, just for a few days, to have that mind chatter go away. Okay. And I share with them, well, there's a way to do that. It's not like you're running from it. Okay? You're just saying, I'm going to step outside of it. And that's the mind. The mind chatter, of course, mind chatter. And these are thousands and thousands of thoughts that hit us every single day. And the majority of them aren't ours. So, but when you move into the now, that mind chatter's gone because you have left the mind and ego alone. You've left them alone. You're not engaging with them. You're not interacting with them. So that part, you experience that. And you move from yesterday and tomorrow to now, moment to moment. Rise and fall of your breath. Ever more so relaxing deeper and deeper within your body. And then you'll notice that any worries, fears, anxieties, stresses are gone. They leave you. Okay? And what does this do for us? What does it teach us? We know that we can go within, discover who and what we are, without the ego mind's influence, which is huge. Absolutely, astronomically huge. And then, now, so doesn't it make sense that we gods in these bodies we start to figure it out ourselves, is that why would we spend our energies in any other space than the now? The mind chatter's gone. The ego mind no longer influences, and you're at total peace. And you're getting closer and closer and deeper within to discover the God that you really are. Talk about intrigue, curiosity, childlike curiosity. Why wouldn't we just stay there? Well, it's because, generation after generation, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we've been conditioned and programmed. So when we discover, okay, so been conditioned, been programmed, and whatever has been done can be undone. So that means that you come to the understanding with yourself is that, okay, That's fine. Well, the ego mind has taught me a lot. So I don't care to be the ego mind slave anymore. I've been the slave of the ego mind for as far as I can remember. So what I'd like to do is have the ego mind be my servant so I could direct it as a tool until it's no longer needed. And that's a whole flip side. That's a whole different story than what it does when it influences us on a daily basis. See, when we're in the now is a natural state of being, and it is the only time that we will ever have is the now. See, because the now eventually becomes past. Every moment to moment becomes past. Well, what about the future? The future hasn't even happened, and we have no guarantee that it will while we're in these bodies. Doesn't that make sense? And see, when we wander off into the future, we suffer. We gain more worry, more stress, more doubt, more fear. Because it's an unknown, and we're not spending time in the now. It's the same as the tortoise and the hare race. Many of us are the hare because we're so focused on getting somewhere. And then when we get there, in most cases, we discover that this got to be more than this. You mean to tell me I sacrificed all this stuff through my life to get here? This is it? Because you didn't enjoy the scenery along the way, right? The journey itself. It's like you're driving along at 150 miles an hour. You can't really enjoy the beauty around you, right? So all you're focused on is getting from point A to point B. That's it. Many people have basically come to a total about-face saying, I wish I would have had children. I wish I would have had a family. I concentrated so much on my career, so much on my direction, that I missed all that. That's happening in this very now moment to a lot of people. And what drives us to do that? Ego mind, being totally controlled by the ego mind. And the ego mind is highly insecure, and it's never satisfied. So you can see that all around you as a watcher on the planet. You can view it in different ways, different forms, and you take it in as a watcher, not a judger, but a watcher. Say, wow. So this is why we're all teachers and students for each other. It is because we're constantly teaching and learning from each other all the time. Doesn't matter if someone, steps into your life for 10 seconds. There's a reason for it. And it's directed to you and to teach you something. And vice versa. You don't know it. It's like you're running, I'm teaching everybody. It's ego mind. But you recognize the fact that you come into people's lives for them to discover what it is you taught them or you're teaching them. It's all about us being students and teachers all the time, which is a wonderful thing. You might look at somebody and you go, whoa, I can't even be around that person. Forget it. They're usually the ones that will teach you the most. And that arrive. Yeah. So some of us kind of sidestep it, but things will keep showing up to teach us things on a daily basis. Things about ourselves, things about others. We're all reflections of each other, different aspects of each other. And since we're all one anyway, so to speak, we're all gods that make up the one super consciousness. We call it pure consciousness. We call it God, right? We call it many things. What do you believe would happen? Let's just be realistic and say that the majority of us, not all of us, but a good chunk of us, were to meditate on how we wanted this planet to be for all of us. We're talking about all life, the highest supreme value in the universe. And we came here, as I've said several times before, what do we come here for? Huh? I mean, we're drawn to be in a physical material world, a physical body. I mean, it's really exciting. You can taste, you can feel, you can sense. I mean, you can smell, you can laugh, you can cry, you can make love. You can do all kinds of things. We don't do that as gods when we're outside of these bodies. We don't have those things. Okay? We don't have them. And why do you think we get so seduced into a material physical form? And that's why this life is so phenomenal. And this is how we forget. And why do we forget? What the heck is it? I have a lot of people say, what is this stuff about us forgetting? Well, I'm very curious about it because to me, and I think to most of us, it doesn't make any sense to us that we would reincarnate in a physical form over and over and over again for tens of thousands of years, maybe even millions, billions, and trillions, and never have a memory, never really, truly. And so it's like we start over every single time, for the most part. And we look at that and we say, what would happen in the event that we remembered all of our past lives? Not so much as, look what I did here, and feel guilty and bad. See, because there's a succession here for all of us. First, discover again who and what you are. And discover that you are the light. You don't follow the light. You are the light. Isn't that crazy? Because when we leave these bodies as gods, we still believe we're that life, that we still believe that we're that life. That imprint, right? Well, we're not because we left the body. The material physical world, it's gone. We've left it. And then we go back, right? We don't go back, but we go forward and we go into another physical material life, body. And we experience these. So while we're in these bodies, our focus is to become aware again of who and what we are, God within the body. So we live in the heart mind and not the ego mind, and we've mastered the ego mind and we've mastered our thoughts. These are all steps for us. And once we've done that, then we will not go into the light when we leave these bodies. We will not be zapped and have no memory of anything because we will have rediscovered who and what we are. And we will know how the process has worked. And you have then determined that you're the light, and this light that comes to you is a trap. Keep you in that cycle over and over and over again. I'm not saying it's not really seductive, because it's super powerful, super seductive to us gods to follow it, to go into it. But see, while we're in these bodies, we have a tremendous opportunity to rediscover all this before we leave the body. That's crucial. Or things like, all this hoopla and everything about really a simple solar eclipse, right? All this hoopla, all this buildup and everything, sensationalism. And that means that none of us know really who and what we are. And we're all focused on what? Material, physical life, which we know is temporary. And when you look at a solar eclipse, you look at it because you're separate. See, most people will look at it because they're separate. They feel separate. But there will be some of us that look at it and say, that's the God that I am. Period. And know that. We are the drops. We are the golden drops of the golden ocean. We hold the essence of the golden ocean. Therefore, we are the golden ocean. See? So, whenever we look at anything, we've created it. And that's the God that I am. Not ego-mind, but heart-minded. When you start to realize that, then you begin to realize that what you focus on, you're definitely going to create. There's no doubt about it. And you stay away from the words which are vibrational frequencies that many of us use on a continual basis without even really batting an eye about it. I don't want, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this to happen, I don't want that to happen. We just don't care to participate in that frequency. So we say, I don't care to engage with that, I don't care to participate in that. So you're not saying you don't want. You're just saying, I just really don't care to participate in it. It's a big difference in the vibrational frequency. And you can feel it when you say both of them. You can feel it through your heart mind, the difference in the frequency between those statements. But when you say you don't care to engage in something, compared to you when you say you don't want that to happen. People say, what's the big deal about that? Doesn't seem like a big deal, does it? But you're focusing on what you don't want, which you will get. That's the bottom line. You focus on what you don't want, and that's what you'll get. Now, most of us are not consciously aware of that, so this is when we say, why in the heck did I have this happen? What did I do to deserve this? You asked for it. You just didn't know it. So in the quiet time of this meditation, and it may, everybody, I'm sure a lot of meditations, which is a wonderful thing happening on the planet about this. But we are the creators. We're all co-creators. We're all creating. So we determine what we want to experience, right? So what you do is you focus on, because the eclipse is you, the God, all of us. So that's the God that you are. We're part of the planets. We're part of celestial systems. We're part of all of it. Can't get away from it. Separation, like I said, is an illusion, so that we each experience different versions or different directions of life. And then we all turn around and teach each other through our experiences. And it's endless. It's eternal. We focus on what you want, with the life you want to live, through the heart-mind, and you focus on how you want this planet to be, not just for you, but for everybody. That's the key. Okay. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. There is nothing you have to do or be to feel bliss. Bliss wells up naturally from your innermost being when you silence the crazy chatter of your mind and allow yourself to simply be in the now moment. Take a deep breath right now and let this bliss overwhelm you. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, following morning. We will return here Tuesday, April 9, 2024, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude all the time, no matter what's happening within you or outside of you.